Hello, it's Patrick from Smartspanner, and this video is going to explain how to use metering or condition monitoring to trigger your work orders rather than time-based interval. So to run through this example, I'll just go through the setup that we need to have first. So in asset management, in meters, this is where you can set any of the meters that you want to use. One meter can be used on more than one asset. So it's a name and a unit for each of them. If you want to add a new one, just click to add a new and give it the name and unit and press save. So once you've set up your meters, the next thing that you'll need to do is ensure that they're linked to the assets. So I've set one up for run hours on a compressor, and at Huddersfield, if we edit this asset, we can select from the meters which ones we're going to monitor on this asset. So I've selected run hours just by highlighting it and pressing save. So now the meters are set up and it's linked to the assets. If I go to my work orders, so here I've set up a work order for a 500-hour inspection on the compressor. So if we open this, nothing's been set for the due date. If you set a due date, naturally you can't use the meter. So we're going to edit the work order and add a meter. First, we need to select which meter we're going to use. And here I can see a history of readings. So I can see that we're at a 510. So let's say my next one is going to trigger at 600. And to make this recurring, I'm going to put the interval at 500. So I repeat the same work order every 500 running hours. And then press save. And save again. So back on the work order list, this has been identified as metered on the status, and we can filter using the status drop down here. So in order to add readings, you can either do that through any of the work orders. So if I go to readings, I actually have one already set up. I can add another one and say, this is my meter and the value is 590, and I've measured that today. And if I click now, it will put in the time of day. So until we get to 600, we're not going to trigger this work order. One more way that we can add a reading to this asset is just in the asset record itself. So if I look up my compressor at Huddersfield and go to the readings, I can just add an ad hoc reading here and say run hours 615 and press save. So what's happened now is I've gone over my 610 trigger value. So if I go back to the work order, we'll now see that the 500-hour inspection has been given a date once we've passed the trigger. So now that this is due, this work order would normally be assigned to somebody and they will complete it. So if I complete this now and just go back to the work order list, and if I just show completed, so the original 500-hour inspection is now marked as complete, and the next work order in the sequence has been created. This now has a value of 1,115, so that's 500 added on to the 615 that we had as the last meter reading. So that process continues, and you can edit that interval at any time just by editing the work order and updating the meter. So that's how to set up condition-based monitoring within Smartspanner. Thanks for watching.